Welcome to Football-Oranje, and we're going to do a preview today for the Peru and France matches for the Netherlands. And I'm with Michael Bell. How are you, Michael?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks. I'm actually unintentionally dressed for the occasion. I got my new RZ shirt on. Hey. Right, yeah, so the first match is Peru, and it's a friendly, and it's dedicated to Wesley Sneijder's final game for the Dutch national team. He's been a great servant, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he's been a great player for Holland over the past 10, 12 years. I mean, some of the games he's played, some of the goals he's scored. And if you look back at the 2010 World Cup, for a lot of people, he should have got the player of the tournament. He should have won the Ballon d'Or that year. I mean, he was insanely good. You'll never forget his 2 goals against Brazil. Especially his header, because he's like the smallest person on the pitch and he's getting up to get headers. But I think the time has come, and the past couple of years it's been evident that he's not a player that he once was, and it's time to say goodbye. It's good that he's getting this farewell match. There's talk of it not being held, but it's a strange time to have it. I think just before the Nations League, I think the friendlies beforehand might have been a bit better, because Koeman's going to want to test his formation for France, and he says that Sneijder's going to start an hour. He's got to play an hour, which seems a bit strange that you've got to play an hour for somebody that's not going to play against France. It's not the most ideal preparation when you're trying to figure out a way to beat the world champions.
Yeah, it's going to be almost like a practice match, a run-up to the France game, which really matters. What do you think you'd like to see from Koeman? Do you think he will experiment with this squad, or do you think he'll pick one that's preparing for the France match?
I hope to see a couple of new faces. I think we'd all like to see Frenkie de Jong in the squad and want to see him getting some game time. I think he is the future of the Netherlands midfield. He started the season well against Champions League. He was excellent in the second leg against Dynamo Kiev. He showed just how top a player is. He's going to be important this season for Ajax in the Champions League. I want to see Steven Bergwijn as well. He missed the last squad for injury, and he's been excellent for PSV. It's about time he got a shot in the national team. But I think Koeman, he's going to go 5-3-2 against Peru, and he's going to go 5-3-2 against France. And I think he'll pick the most experienced team against France. He might experiment a little against Peru with some debuts, but I think against France you've got to see the strongest names on the team sheet: the Van Dijks, the De Vries, the Wijnaldums, the Strootmans, the Memphis. It might not be the best side he could play tactically, but I think he'll go with the bigger names.
Yeah, I think he needs to experiment a little bit whilst he can with the Peru match, because not every team that the Netherlands will play will be the big teams. In the Nations League, they're going to play Germany and France, but I think he's got to use this as well as a practice for the easier teams, if you like. Not saying Peru are a pushover, not at all, because they got to the World Cup and the Dutch didn't. But I think, for me, I'd like to see Koeman experiment a little bit with players too. For me, yeah, Frenkie de Jong's got to get his debut for this one. I don't think he should play the France match, but I think it's important for him that he gets some time here. Of course, Sneijder's going to play. Myself, I'd like to actually see Justin Kluivert in attack over Bergwijn, because he had a great couple of games for Roma since he started there. And I think as well, you want to keep the consistency of the defence. So even though I think he should play a back 4 for the Peru match, I've actually got in my lineup that I'd like to see, I have De Ligt and Van Dijk at centre-back, flanked by Jan Martin, Van Aanholt at full-backs.
Yeah, Bergwijn, for me, I think he's going to go for Memphis. He's going to start both games, I think. And then it's who's really going to partner him. So you've got Ryan Babel, who's done it the last couple of international games, and he's done okay. But then he's trying to experiment with Quincy Promes as well, who seems to be on his way to Sevilla. But it hasn't really worked for me. I don't think the two of them can really play together. They're great friends off the pitch, but together they don't seem to have that sort of click they had when they played Portugal and he started with Ryan Babel. I think them two were a much better partnership. Justin Kluivert, yeah, he started really well for Roma. I don't know if there's got to be certain players cut from the squad. I think Eliel was in the provisional squad. If you asked me who I would rather see, Bergwijn or Kluivert, I'd like to see Bergwijn given a chance.
Yeah, he's had more time with PSV because the European matches, I suppose, as a warm up for this match. Finally, then, before we move on, Peru are without Paulo Guerrero, who is their star striker, even though he's 34. He's a captain. They're also without Feyenoord's Renato Tapia, who's a mainstay in their defence. So they're a little bit weaker themselves, but Peru didn't disgrace themselves in the World Cup, so a good team. What do you think the score will be?
I think Peru are a very good team. I think a lot of the people said during the World Cup that they were very unlucky to go out in the group stages. I think it's going to be a bit of a carnival atmosphere. I don't really know what it's going to be like because it's basically a testimonial match for Schneider and how that's going to play out. But I'd like to see Netherlands get a win. I think Peru, they'll turn up to try and impress. They've got a bit of pace about them. They've got a bit of flair about them. If the Netherlands aren't totally on it, they're going to cause us a lot of trouble. But I'd like to see Netherlands run out. Maybe I'm going to go with 2-1 winners.
Yeah, I think it could be. It could turn out to be a bit of, well, definitely a friendly atmosphere and not one that really matters to either side. And because it's for Schneider, you could see a lot of substitutions late in the game and stoppages to celebrate Schneider. So I don't know. I think it'll be close. I think I'll go for a draw 1-1.
I think what's nailed on, what you're definitely going to see is Snyder taking pop shots from 35 yards to try and get a goal in his final cap. I think that's a certainty.
All right, so that's the first match in this international break. The second one's France. It's the first match for the Nations League. The Netherlands are in a group of 3 teams with Germany and France. So France have got only one change made from their actual World Cup squad, which of course they won. This is the best team in the world at the moment. So, you know, how are the Netherlands going to cope with the 4 players? Of course, they play at back 5, but Mbappe, Dembele, Giroud, Griezmann. Seriously, is that ever got any chance at all?
I think if you ask him before the Nations League, or going into the Nations League, the 2 toughest teams he could pick to face, and he would have said France and Germany. I think Germany being their biggest rivals and coming off the back of a horrible World Cup where they've got something to prove, and world champions who you just can't pick a weakness in their squad. You maybe say Lloris in goal is probably the one sticking point, but all over the pitch. I think Deschamps could have rested their whole World Cup squad and played a second one with all the reserves, and that would still be too strong for Holland. They've got so many good players at the moment. You saw it during the qualifying for the World Cup. They were just better than Netherlands all over the pitch. I can't really see how, unless they're still having some sort of World Cup hangover, that Netherlands can come away from Paris with a good result. I think you've got to look at the games at home against France and Germany to see if Netherlands can get anything from this Nations League. But I think our qualifying for Euro 2020 really rests on the qualifiers when they get underway, when Netherlands will actually be in a bit of an easier group.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be such a tough match, and this is not how they're going to qualify for Euro 2020. I think the only thing that the Dutch could hope for is that the World Cup meant so much to France. Now the Nations League is a bit of a drop down, and will they be motivated to play? Even though it's the same squad as World Cup, will Deschamps make some changes and play some different players, an experiment? I think that's the only way they have a chance. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think you're looking at France having an off day, but then you've got to say that players like Pogba, he's been criticised for his start in the Premier League, and he'll have something to prove. He showed it in the World Cup how good he is for France when he gets there, and then he's probably going to want to show Mourinho, this is how I play when I'm with France, why can't I do it at Man United? I think Holland have got a lot of things to deal with. I think, I just can't see any way that Holland come out of this with anything other than a defeat, sadly.
All right, so how do you think Koeman will approach it? Who do you think he will play in his starting 11?
Starting 11 wise, I think Jasper Cillesen's going to be injured, sadly. So Zoet will probably start in goal. He's had a bit of a shaky start to the season compared to last. He was excellent for PSV in the title-winning campaign, but he's made a few mistakes so far. But he's a reliable keeper on his day. I just hope he saves the mistakes for when he's in a PSV shirt. Back five, you'll go with the big names. You'll go with Van Dijk, De Vrij, possibly De Ligt. I'd like to see Nathan Ake. He's had a really good start to the season for Bournemouth, but I think he'll go with De Ligt. Left back position, it should be Van Aanholt, but I've got a sneaky feeling that he's going to try and shoehorn Daley Blind in there. And then on right back slot, you got Jan Maat. For midfield, I think he'll go with Wijnaldum, who's been excellent for Liverpool, but he just can't seem to do it when he's in a Oranje shirt. Hopefully this will be the start of him taking control of the midfield, and I think next to him you'll have Strootman and Davy Proper. I'd like to see Frenkie de Jong or Danny van de Beek, who offer a bit more movement, but I think he'll go with the established Premier League or bigger league players, and then up front you'll go with Memphis and Babel or Memphis and Promise, and look to maybe get some pace on the counter attack, because that's the only way the Netherlands are going to get anything out of this game. It's going to be a case of sitting back, soaking up the pressure, hopefully frustrating them, then getting one breakaway where Memphis can do something.
Yeah, agreed. The lineup's pretty similar to what I've got, and I think the chances that they have will rely upon the attackers getting something on the break. Myself, I don't want to see Babel in the starting 11. For me, he doesn't offer enough in the way the Dutch play. He's the type of player that Depay or Promes is technically, but I think he needs a bit more pace, and those guys have that, and on the counter-attack it's going to be so important. And I think Wijnaldum playing behind him could be really good as well. I've actually gone for Vilhena with Strootman in midfield, because I think Koeman likes Vilhena, and he tends to find a way of getting him in the starting 11. And he doesn't do himself any shame by playing for the Dutch national team. He's got good qualities, a real battler in midfield. I think apart from that, really, my defence was pretty much the same. I've got De Ligt, Van Dijk and Ake as the centre-back three. I can see a case for De Vrij, but I think after Ake's impression and his goal in the game against Italy, I don't see why he can't be picked. So yeah, no, it's gonna be a tricky game for the Dutch then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Well, Michael, thanks for joining me, and let's see if the Dutch can spring a surprise in the France match after a good result against Peru.
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully 2 wins.
Nice one.